On the vast plateau of Tanzania's Serengeti National Park, where endless grasslands blend with the whispering wind, golden sunlight, and sudden bursts of rain. A peaceful morning begins like any other. The sun rises just above the horizon, painting the knee-high dry grass in shades of gold, slowly dissolving the thin veil of mist that blankets the valley. The cheerful chirping of birds echoes from the scattered acacia trees, mingling with the deep, distant roar of a lion. This is a land of primal life, where wild nature retains its pure beauty, largely untouched by human hands. Amid this majestic scene, a small but sturdy figure appears atop an old, weathered off-road vehicle. Its tires rumble over the rugged red dirt paths, kicking up fine clouds of dust into the air. This is Nathan Karabo, a 38-year-old conservation officer who has spent nearly 2 decades safeguarding this land. With sun-bleached brown hair tousled by the wind, skin toughened and tanned by long days under the relentless sun, and bright, determined eyes, Nathan is more than just a ranger. He's a storyteller of nature, a listener to the grassland's every breath, the birds' every call, and a turn. Nathan was born and raised in a small village near the southern edge of the Serengeti, where wheat and cornfields intertwined with wild shrubs. His father was a farmer, his mother a village seamstress, but the greatest influence in his life was his grandfather, Juma, a retired hunter. Juma had once been a legendary figure in the region, feared for his skill with a bow, but old age and changing laws led him to set aside his weapons for a quieter life. Under the ancient baobab tree in front of their home, he'd sit and share tales of the wilderness with Nathan, stories of proud lions leading their prides, swift antelopes racing across the plains like gusts of wind, and leopards silently stalking prey beneath the moonlight. "You don't have to hunt them to understand them, Nathan," Juma would say, his voice warm yet commanding. "Look into their eyes, and you'll see a whole world. Life, death, and everything in between." Those words carved themselves into Nathan's young mind, like a seed planted in the fertile soil of his childhood. As a boy, he'd often sneak out late in the afternoon, running to the edge of the grasslands to watch the animals from afar, his childlike eyes sparkling with wonder. Unlike his grandfather, he didn't want to kill them. He wanted to protect them, to ensure their wild world endured forever. At 18, after graduating high school, Nathan turned down a university offer in Dar es Salaam to join the Serengeti National Park's conservation training program. To him, it wasn't just a job. It was a promise to his grandfather, to himself, and to the land that had filled his youth with unforgettable memories. As usual, Nathan starts his day with meticulous care. He checks his beat-up Land Rover, its faded green paint chipped by time. The water tank is filled, the medical kit neatly packed in an orange plastic box, and the radio tested for a steady signal. His job isn't just patrolling to stop poaching, a persistent issue in the Serengeti despite government efforts, but also rescuing wildlife in distress. He's bandaged the broken wings of eagles, freed young antelopes from traps, and even faced down an injured elephant in a panic. Each time, his heart races, not from fear, but from the joy of helping keep this land alive. The vehicle rolls through a low-lying area where short acacia bushes dot the dry grasslands. Morning sunlight streams through the windshield, highlighting specks of dust floating in the air. Nathan drives slowly, scanning his surroundings, his eyes catching faint hoofprints in the dirt. Signs of an antelope herd that passed through at dawn, likely heading to a nearby stream. He smiles, jotting a quick note in the small notebook he always carries. But then, cutting through the peaceful silence, a strange sound interrupts his thoughts. It's not the cheerful chirping of birds or the rustle of wind through the grass, it's a faint, pained groan coming from somewhere ahead. Nathan slams on the brakes, kills the engine, and tilts his head to listen. The sound comes again, weak but distinct, like a creature suffering in silence. A bad feeling rises in his chest. The same instinct he felt 2 years ago when he found a rhino shot by poachers. Without hesitation, he steps out of the vehicle, grabbing the medical kit and a small flashlight, though daylight is still bright enough to see. He slings on a small backpack with wire cutters and mild sedatives, tools he always keeps for emergencies. The groans lead him to a thick bush about 50 yards off the path. Nathan moves cautiously, his feet brushing lightly over the dry grass to avoid making noise. In the wild, a sudden sound could spook an animal, or worse, provoke an attack. As he nears the bush, he freezes, his breath catching at the sight before him. A cheetah, the fastest predator of the Serengeti plains, curled up on the ground, its front leg tangled in a rusty wire snare, likely an old trap left behind by poachers years ago. The cheetah's golden fur is streaked with dried blood, its piercing blue-green eyes flickering with panic and exhaustion. The black spots marking its body, a signature of its species, seem dulled beneath layers of dust and blood. It lets out a weak growl as it spots Nathan, its sharp white teeth glinting faintly, but it lacks the strength to struggle. The wire has cut deep into its leg, tearing flesh and oozing small drops of blood onto the dry grass below. Nathan stands still, watching from a few yards away, his heart tightening at the pitiful sight. "Don't be scared, little one," he whispers, his voice soft like when he used to talk to stray dogs in his village as a kid. He kneels, setting the medical kit beside him and gesturing slowly, trying to show the cheetah he's not a threat. He can see the wire has dug into its flesh, leaving a 4-inch open wound that's bleeding and showing signs of infection. If it isn't freed soon, the cheetah will die, not from immediate blood loss but from infection or starvation. Unable to hunt in this state, Nathan knows the danger of approaching an injured wild animal. Cheetahs may be smaller than lions or hippos, but they're formidable predators with unmatched speed and power. One swipe could break his bones, or worse. Yet he also knows that walking away would haunt him forever. This isn't just a job, it's the promise he made as a boy under that baobab tree. He takes a deep breath, pulling a small pair of wire cutters and a spray bottle of sedative from his bag, tools he mastered in conservation training. With utmost care, he edges closer, keeping his voice steady to calm the cheetah. "I'm gonna help you, don't worry. Just a little longer." He grabs a small cloth from the kit, sprays it with a measured dose of sedative, and uses a long stick to place it near the cheetah's nose. He stands still, waiting, his own breathing quickening in the tense silence. After a few minutes, the cheetah's blue-green eyes flutter shut, its body relaxing, though faint twitches of pain remain. Nathan seizes the moment, kneeling beside it to begin. He cuts through the wire loop by loop, each snip a test of precision to avoid further damaging the torn flesh. Sweat rolls down his forehead, dripping onto the grass, but he doesn't notice. The sharp sound of metal breaking rings out in the stillness, blending with the cheetah's heavy, sedated breaths. When the last strand is cut, Nathan gently pulls the wire free, exposing raw, bloody flesh caked with dirt. He grabs a bottle of saline from the kit, carefully rinsing the wound as the cheetah whimpers faintly in its stupor. Then he applies a thick layer of antibiotic ointment and wraps the leg with soft gauze, tight enough to stop the bleeding but gentle enough not to hurt. Finished, he sits back, wipes his brow with his sleeve, and watches as the cheetah slowly stirs. When it opens its eyes, the panic is gone, replaced by a strange curiosity. Those blue-green eyes lock onto Nathan's, as if trying to figure out who he is and why he's here. Nathan smiles, feeling an unspoken bond between them. He names it Zara, a Swahili word meaning light, to mark the moment he saved it under the Serengeti's blazing sun. "Go on, Zara. You're free now," he says, his voice soft but firm. He stands, stepping back to give it space. Zara rises slowly, its injured leg still shaky, but it doesn't bolt. It stands there, gazing at Nathan for a long moment as if memorizing his warm brown eyes. Gentle smile and lean, rugged frame. Then, with a graceful turn, it limps off into the tall grass and vanishes. Nathan watches until Zara's gone, exhaling a breath of relief mixed with indescribable joy. He returns to his vehicle, checks his gear, and heads back to the ranger station, unaware that this moment has sparked the beginning of an extraordinary bond, a friendship that defies the boundaries between man and beast. In the weeks that follow, Nathan's life settles back into its familiar rhythm. He continues his long patrols, tracking the migratory herds of zebras and wildebeests that sweep across the Serengeti with the rainy season, seeking water and fresh grass. He assists researchers from the city, who arrive with high-tech gear to monitor climate patterns and wildlife behavior. The work keeps him busy, but he never tires of it. Each day on the plains is a day he lives his passion. But something strange starts to happen, though he doesn't pay it much mind at first. Occasionally, as he drives through the wide-open grasslands, he feels eyes watching him from a distance. The first time, he brushes it off, maybe an antelope standing quietly in the grass or a big bird perched on an acacia branch. Then one late afternoon as the sunset paints the sky red, he sees it, Zara. The cheetah he saved, standing on a small rise about 200 yards from the road, its blue-green eyes glinting as they follow his vehicle. Nathan stops the car, cuts the engine, and squints through the fading light. Zara stands motionless, its golden fur blending with the fiery orange of the sunset. It doesn't approach or flee, just watches him, a silent figure in the vast natural canvas. Nathan smiles, feeling an odd connection he can't quite explain. "Thanks for stopping by, little one," he calls out, knowing the wind will carry his words away before they reach Zara. He starts the engine and drives on. But a warm feeling spreads through him, the sense that he's no longer alone on these red dirt roads. From that day, Zara begins to appear more often, though not every day. Some mornings, when Nathan stops to inspect an old abandoned trap, he spots Zara stretched out on a flat rock nearby, its eyes tracking his every move. At noon under the scorching sun, as he eats lunch in the shade of an acacia, usually a dried meat sandwich and a banana, he catches glimpses of Zara lurking in the tall grass, silent as a ghost. It never comes too close, always keeping a safe distance, but its presence is unmistakable. His colleagues at the ranger station start to notice the oddity. One evening, as he sits with them around a campfire outside the station where stories are swapped to ward off the night's chill, he shares the tale with a sheepish grin. Amina, a young biologist who studies cheetahs and has been Nathan's close friend since their training days, bursts out laughing. "You sure you're not imagining this, Nathan?" she teases, her dark eyes sparkling in the firelight. "Cheetahs aren't exactly the friendly type. They're solitary hunters, you know that." Nathan shrugs, tossing a dry stick into the fire, sending tiny sparks skyward. "I'm not forcing it, Amina. Chose me. I don't know why, but every time I'm out there, it's there. Not to hunt me, but to watch, I guess." Amina shakes her head, but her eyes betray curiosity. As a scientist, she doesn't buy into romantic tales of human-animal friendships, but she knows Nathan isn't one to make things up. Soon, others at the station see it too. One early morning, as Nathan drives across a shallow stream to check elephant tracks, he hears a yelp from Kofi, a rookie ranger in the passenger seat. "Look, Nathan, that cheetah." Nathan follows Kofi's pointing finger, and sure enough, Zara stands on a nearby rise, its small ears twitching as it gazes down at the vehicle. Kofi's jaw drops, but Nathan just chuckles. "That's Zara," he says, as if introducing an old pal. "It won't hurt anyone, don't worry." Word of Nathan's cheetah spreads through the station. Some call it Nathan's shadow, a name both mysterious and playful. A few older folks, like Musa, the station manager, grow concerned. "You need to be careful, Nathan," Musa warns during a team meeting, his voice deep and stern. "Wild animals aren't our friends. They can turn on you anytime. If that cheetah loses it, you're in big trouble." Nathan nods politely, replying, "I get it, Musa, but Zara's not a threat. I trust it." The bond between Nathan and Zara becomes undeniable one full moon night, about 3 months after their first encounter. The sky is clear, not a cloud in sight, the bright round moon casting a silver glow over the plains like a shimmering carpet. Nathan's driving back to the station after a long day, his vehicle bouncing slowly along the bumpy dirt road, headlights sweeping across the low bushes. He's tired, his eyes stinging from hours of observation and note-taking, but his mind stays sharp, always ready for the unexpected. Suddenly, a strange noise comes from behind. Not the wind rustling the grass or the crickets chirping in the night, but a low, threatening growl. Nathan hits the brakes, swings the headlights around, and sees a sight that makes his blood run cold. 3 hyenas lurking about 30 yards from the vehicle, their eyes glowing like tiny embers in the dark. Hyenas are opportunistic predators, hunting in packs and fearless about attacking anything they deem weak. Nathan's not their main target, maybe they're after nearby prey, but he knows if his car breaks down or he steps out, things could turn ugly. He grips the steering wheel, reaching for the radio to call for backup, but before he can press the button, a blur shoots out from the darkness to the right. Zara. The cheetah charges straight at the hyenas, its roar echoing through the night, powerful, fierce, a no-nonsense declaration of war. The hyenas, though outnumbering it, are caught off guard. They snarl back, baring sharp teeth, but Zara doesn't flinch. It weaves through them with agility, using claws and fangs to drive them back one by one. Nathan sits in the car, heart pounding. Awestruck and grateful, he cracks the window to hear better. Zara's roars mixing with the hyena's yelps in a chaotic nighttime symphony. One hyena lunges at Zara from behind, but the cheetah spins like a whirlwind, landing a swipe that sends it retreating in pain. After a tense few minutes, the hyenas realize they're outmatched. They let out a frustrated howl and scatter, disappearing into the dark plains. Zara stands in the middle of the dirt road, panting under the moonlight. Its fur glints silver, its blue-green eyes blazing like twin gems. Nathan slowly opens the door, steps out, and stands about 10 yards away. He's not afraid, not now. He looks at Zara and Zara looks back. No aggression, no fear, just a deep, wordless understanding between them. "Thanks, Zara," Nathan says, his voice hoarse with emotion. He's not sure if the cheetah understands, but he needs to say it. Zara tilts its head, or so Nathan thinks, then turns and pads off into the tall grass, leaving him standing under the full moon. He watches until it's gone, his heart racing with joy and reverence. From that night, Nathan knows Zara isn't just an animal he saved. It's chosen him as a companion, one it's willing to protect, just as he protected it that first day. As time passes, the story of Nathan and Zara spreads beyond the Serengeti. Villagers nearby, who once saw cheetahs as threats to their livestock, recount it with admiration. Tourists visiting the park hear whispers from guides and start asking rangers about the man and his cheetah friend. A European documentary crew even contacts the station, proposing a film about Nathan and Zara, but Nathan always declines the spotlight. "This isn't my story," he tells Amina when she tries to convince him. "It's Zara's and this land's. I'm just a small part of it." But the peak of their remarkable friendship comes one rainy day, 6 months after Nathan saved Zara. A sudden flood sweeps through the northern Serengeti, turning gentle streams into raging torrents. The water uproots trees, floods the red dirt roads, and threatens a group of tourists camping near a small river. The station gets an emergency call over the radio, and Nathan's one of the first to volunteer, braving the brutal weather. When he arrives, the water's knee-deep and pounding rain blurs his vision. The group, 8 people, including 2 kids, is panicking, scrambling up a rise to escape the rising flood. Nathan shouts over the storm, guiding them to tie ropes around their waists and hold on as he pulls them across. Barefoot, he stands in the muddy current, anchoring the rope with his body's strength. It goes smoothly until he helps a 10-year-old boy whose foot is trapped under a fallen log. Nathan bends down, prying the roots free, but in that moment, he misses the surge building upstream. A massive wave crashes in, knocking him down and dragging him away from the group. He flails in the murky water, grabbing for a floating branch, but nature's force is overwhelming. Water fills his mouth and nose, his breaths turn desperate, and for the first time, he thinks he might not make it. Just as his strength fades, a figure leaps from the high bank on the river's left side. It's Zara. The cheetah plunges into the torrent with astonishing speed and resolve, clamping its strong jaws onto Nathan's jacket and hauling him toward shore. The current slams against Zara's small but powerful frame, but it doesn't let go. With its front legs digging into the mud and hind legs pushing against the flow, it fights with everything it has. Nathan feels the pull, and with his last ounce of energy, he grabs a jutting rock to help. After what feels like forever, Zara drags Nathan onto a dry ledge a few yards from the water. He collapses, coughing up water, lungs burning but alive. He turns to Zara, its golden fur soaked and clinging to its body, blue-green eyes blazing through the rain, and tears well up, mixing with the raindrops on his face. "You saved me," he whispers, voice breaking. He reaches out, resting his hand on Zara's head, and for the first time, the cheetah doesn't pull away. It lets him touch it, a rare gesture of trust between man and wild beast. The tourists on the rise, though frantic, saw it all. A middle-aged man yells through the rain, "You okay? That cheetah, it just saved you." Nathan nods weakly, still reeling. He checks Zara for injuries, but it's just wet and tired, no serious harm. After that, Nathan and Zara become a Serengeti legend, a living testament to the bond between humanity and nature. News of the rescue spreads fast, not just among conservationists but in international headlines. A National Geographic article dubs them the Plains Miraculous Duo, featuring a blurry photo snapped by a tourist, Nathan drenched beside Zara in the rain, their eyes meeting in a moment heavy with meaning. Zara recovers quickly from the flood and resumes its wild life, hunting, roaming the grasslands, but it never strays far from Nathan. On patrols, he senses its presence. A silent silhouette at sunset, blue-green eyes watching from afar on moonlit nights. Rangers start sharing the story with new generations, a reminder that kindness and courage can bridge any divide. Now 40, with a few silver strands in his hair from years under the sun and wind, Nathan carries on his work with unwavering faith that he's never alone. Zara, the quiet king of the plains, is always out there, guarding him as he once guarded it. One evening, sitting by the campfire with Amina and Kofi, he looks up at the starry sky and says, "I don't know if Zara understands what I think, but I know it feels it. And that's enough." Under the full moon's radiant glow, across the boundless Serengeti plateau, Nathan and Zara's story lives on. A symphony of loyalty, sacrifice, and timeless friendship, echoing through the endless grasslands where man and nature become one.